Hey guys, welcome back to Musings of Maverick. I'm Maverick, and today we're going to be looking at Bunny Girl Senpai Episode 8. So, it's been a while since I came back to this series, and the reason for that is because my dumbass actually thought I had caught up to the entire series up to the last episode, and so we were waiting for the new one. But, as it turns out, I was one episode short, and so this has been in the backlog for a long time, and while I was waiting to schedule my next episode, I found, hey, I missed an episode. So now seems like a good time as ever to throw this one out. So what happened in the last episode? Let's refresh our memories. Futaba, last episode, well, actually currently we're going through Futaba's episode arc, right? So she has this problem where she is divided into multiple people. And then they have all that pseudo quantum stuff that's not really relevant, but yeah, so we won't talk about it. And then also, last episode we left on a cliffhanger where it seems that Futaba is taking indecent photos of herself and posting them on the web. Why does she do it? I don't know. She certainly has the assets for it, right? She's actually quite hot, has quite a nice figure, and is quite beautiful as well. So maybe it's just a case of, even though she's the shy girl, she wants to, she knows she's hot and she wants to be praised for it, right? Although that doesn't really fit her normal personality. So living a second life, if you will, on the webs. Or it could be something more sinister, and we don't know. And this is not something that she really willingly wants to do. But anyways, let's see if we can resolve Futaba's arc in this episode and also see what exactly her problem is all about. Now, I fiddled a little bit with the current settings, so hopefully this isn't going to get copyright striked. I'm always trying to strike a balance between what's best for the viewer and also for me to not get my ass kicked by YouTube. But anyways, let's see. I cut out the beginning opening already, so we can go right into the action. And here we are. So let's start in 3, 2, 1, play. In a lab coat? Yeah. And is she measuring using like measuring cups and stuff? Kind of true. 桜便桜。Yeah, somebody to give her attention. Inferiority complex? Alright, so a fairly, again, a fairly cliche setting and backstory. So is it actually split personalities? But they're actually both Futaba as well, so you can't really say that one is fake or real, because this is also something that she wants. Hmm? Oh, she's in an idol group now? See, this is how a mature relationship should be. Hmm? Mhm. So she's kept photos from middle school? Good answer. Why though? They're both the same person. Okay. Wow. Dang, she's really scared. My exact reaction. Oh, that's her house? So she's a pretty independent girl, I guess. And is he going to talk to him again? It's like half transparent. So is the reason that she doesn't confess that she doesn't want to lose her friend? That's how they met. That's a nice line. No. But what? Huh? Domesticated? So is this like a callback to the ending? It's a bunch of idiots, but that's youth, right? Yeah. These are some good friends. But like I said, that's youth. Hmm. If you knew a typhoon was going to come, why would you? Oh. Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, she's also you. You're the same. He has a cold or something? Exhausted? Oh, it's mine? That's it? And she's back to being glasses with Evan. Such a wholesome show. Okay, I'll see you guys in just a second. And there seems to be a little bit more after the ending, so let's take a look at this part. New girl? Okay. And we are back. So that was episode 8 of Bunny Girl Senpai, and with it we conclude Futeba's arc. Now, frankly, I'm at a loss of where to begin with this episode or this arc in general, because it's not. I mean, if I take it just at face value, it's a fairly straightforward episode, right? So we go through all the motions, and again, you need to learn to love yourself, or not even love yourself, but accept yourself for what you are, and also have the courage to step out and whatnot. And so in the end, everything is resolved, and we all have a fun time, and we continue the story happily ever after, right? But the thing that gets me is that I don't really understand the whole situation. Like, how did it came to be this way? And I'm not sure if it's just that I'm a dumbass and I overlook some important pieces of detail, or whether or not it's just something that you have to be in that situation to understand it, right? So, starting from the very top, I'm still not quite sure why Futaba turns out that the way she is, right? So, I mean, I can kind of get that, okay, fine, she doesn't really like the current self. I mean, she's already stated multiple times she hates the current self, so she wants to change for the better. But then my question is, what made you turn into your current self, right? So I could get that she was trying to post some lewd photos or whatnot on the internet, because as I mentioned at the very beginning of the episode, it's a fairly easy way, using the anonymity of the internet, to do some things that you generally wouldn't do. Like, hey, even me doing these reaction videos, for example, it's definitely not something that most of my in real life friends or colleagues would feel I would be a person doing. So it's just another way to express yourself. Even though I'm not really anonymous, but still, it's a fairly low chance that people would know me in real life and then see me on YouTube doing reaction videos. It's just not. It's a proxy, right? It's something else to do. So I could get that part, but the point that I don't quite get is, so how did Futaba turn out this way? It's not like she had a tragic past or anything. Yeah, there was this minor story where she said, okay, she developed her female features earlier, so she went through puberty earlier, basically, and it's a story that we've heard a billion times, right? There's always this kind of character, my boobs are so big, so I get picked on. It's a trope. So, but even then, was she also picked on or teased by the other girls? Like, or is she just by nature a loner, and then she hates herself for that? See, I don't know if this is something that either I missed, or it was mentioned in the light novels or the original works, but due to time constraints was not fully expanded on here. So in the end, I'm just left very puzzled as to why this whole situation came to be, right? So I can get that what she is right now, she wants some change in her life. It's fairly, speaking from my personal experience, once you get into a fixed role, it's very hard to break out of it. And what I mean fixed role is, so you're always that guy, you're known as either the nerdy guy, right? Or you're known as the jock. You're known as the guy who likes to go clubbing all the time. So if a guy who likes to go clubbing all the time suddenly says, hey, I want to watch, I want to stay at home and read books and watch anime and manga, it kind of was a shock, right? And it's just not generally done. You can't just do over yourself and reset yourself that easily. It doesn't quite work that way. So I can kind of get that, okay, so maybe Futaba is not satisfied with how her life and what she's doing right now, basically how her life has turned out to be, and so she wants to make some change. And to do it, she chose a more drastic measure, and that's posting lewd photos on the interwebs, because, hey, that's not something that anybody would suspect that the real Futaba would do, right? It doesn't fit her character. It's not her personality. So she can be someone entirely else using this proxy. So again, I get that. And actually, my theory is that because I have I have friends sort of similar in the way they think and whatnot with Futaba. So I actually also suspect that she might have minor depression. Okay, again, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not an expert on this kind of thing, but I just feel that she does show some symptoms of minor depression, and maybe that is why this whole thing came to be, right? But again, even so, I would have enjoyed it much more, or I would have liked it much more if we could have some more hints as to what exactly made her out to be this way. And so that if she really does have, okay, no matter whether she does have some depression or not, I think we can all agree on one thing, and that is she is very fortunate to have found these two friends in Kanemi and Sakura, right? Like, they are awesome friends. Literally, you can't ask for a better relationship. I mean, maybe some people would like friends who, I don't know, do even more crazier shit or gossip or whatnot. But for me, looking at that, those are the friends that I would enjoy having in my life. And I feel like I'm also blessed in the fact that I do have these kinds of friends in my life as well. Uh, Friends who, at a moment's call, if you're in need, they'll just, no word, you don't need to say a second word, and they'll just come and spend their time with you, even if you don't necessarily want to tell them what it is that you're facing. Sure, they'll want to know, but if you don't want to, hey, that's okay. You do you, and we're here to support you. Like, nobody, you can't ask for better friends than that kind. So that is why I feel like Futaba is definitely very lucky. At least she's not going through into a negative spiral and eventually becoming a shut-in or whatnot. See, so again, this, and calling back to my previous statements, this is also why I don't quite get what exactly is the deal with her, because by all standards, she still seems to be normal socially, right? She does, okay, she likes science. So what? There's always going to be some other nerdy girls that you can talk to. So, and is she lacking in social skills? I wouldn't quite say so. I mean, it's not like she's weird or anything. She just has some different hobbies and interests. So, although I guess if we're going back to my previous theories or previous complaint about this episode at large, and that is that it'll take a lot of trivial matters and then greatly exaggerate them. So I'm actually wondering if this is the same case as well. So even though to me personally, I don't feel like Futaba is quite weird enough that should be a cast out or a loner in school or whatnot. I feel like she would have no problem to find friends or people with similar hobbies and interests. But is it a case of them exaggerating and so making her out to be this loner who only had friends once she met Sakura and Kanumi? I don't know, but I guess possibly. Possibly. So, and then in the end, it turns out that one of the main things that she's afraid of is in losing Sakura and Kanemi. So I can kind of get that part, I guess, because in Kanemi's case, he got a girlfriend, so in Futaba's case, she's worried that, okay, you'll spend all your time with a girlfriend and you won't have time for your friends anymore. In Sakura's case, he's also going for a similar thing. He's got Mai now. And so Futaba is, she, I guess, yeah, if you think about it this way, this might have been the catalyst for her turning this into a big ordeal, right? It might have been because she saw that these, hey, her two friends, her only friends, have each got their significant others now. Maybe she'll be back to being alone, and that's why she started vying for more attention, to get attention or reaction from others. She's not only, so she doesn't want to feel alone, right? So that's in a sense sort of like her insurance policy. So I guess if we look at it that way, it all ties together. Again, the thing that I'm mostly um, not being able to wrap my head around is how she turned out to be this way in the first place. So, anyways, uh, and So in the end, I guess the reason that she was able to go through this situation and return to normal is because her belief in her friends was reaffirmed, right? So she knows that these are two very good friends, and they're not going to leave her, and they're going to accept her for what she is. And so she then willingly goes back to 1. And this brings me to the next point, and that is, so what exactly are the differences between the two Futabas? Because it's not like their personalities are different, they're still fairly similar. Sure, you can say that the one without glasses is a little bit more assertive, maybe? So this leads me to believe that maybe the Futaba with the glasses is the one where all the negative traits that she doesn't like about herself are focused into. Is that the case? Um, Maybe. Although that would be that would be pretty sad if that was the case, right? So she's basically the other Futaba is basically the gathering of all the negative energy and emotions. And so I guess it would make sense in that context then for her in the end to have a breakdown. So because she is herself, right? So that is the self that the one without the glasses. That is the self that Futaba wants herself to be. But instead, so that's why she said, okay, it's okay if I disappear because I the Futaba with glasses is representing all the negative emotions and negative characteristics that she doesn't want to have. Um, I guess it would make sense if you think about it that way. And during that scene, the whole time I was thinking, but you guys are one and the same. It's part of you. You can't just throw away that part. And I guess in the end, Sakuda was basically saying the same thing, right? Because he never once said that, oh no, you're important. You're an important part of Futaba as well because you represent her these qualities, etc., etc., right? But it's not really like that. So it's not a case of each one having their different personalities or characteristics or things that they should be. One is better at than the other. It's not a case of that. It's just a case of no. Uh, it doesn't matter if you are the the sum of all the negativeness, but still you are part of Futaba. So you guys need to still be together. You still be as one. Does that make sense? Uh, it kind of does and it kind of doesn't, right? So on one hand, if you really think about it, so if there was a case for you, if there was a way for you to remove everything you don't like about yourself, say you're indecisive, so you can remove that from yourself. Say you're shy, you can remove the shyness from yourself. Say you're too lazy, so you can remove the laziness from yourself. I I think most people, if they were given a choice of just being able to say like press a button and then have that characteristic removed from them, I feel like a lot of people would say, sure, let me do it. And like think about it like this way. If this other Futaba with the glasses did not actually turn into a being, right? If it was still with only one Futaba, and she was given a choice to basically discard all the negative traits that she wanted. Would we be looking at this story from a different light? Would we instead agree that, yeah, she can do this? Hmm. It's an interesting question, isn't it? And I don't think I really have an answer. Because in the end, the moral of this story seems to be you should accept yourself for who you are. If we go back to the last arc, Tomoe's arc, Sakura basically ended up saying about the same thing, right? You should accept yourself for what you are. So I guess is that the moral of the story? I mean, not the moral. The moral of the story? Maybe, but does it make sense though? That is the question. It's all part of yourself, so you should face it. But if I don't need to face it and I can just simply avoid it, is that not a better method? Why should we be forced to face it? Hmm. I feel like this is one of those questions that's going to keep me up for a long time contemplating about this. But yeah, basically that's it, right? I feel like I have to end this episode here on this question. Should we be able to accept ourselves for who we are, even though we all want ourselves to change? And if there was really a free way with no consequences to change that part of yourself, would you take it? Or do you feel, or is it a case that you should work on these problems yourself and through time and patience? So, two different roads, right? Which one would I choose? I honestly don't know. And if you guys have any thoughts on this situation, I'm very curious to see what you would choose as well. So, I guess on that note, we can about end this episode because I don't really have... Okay, I guess one final thing to add, and that is Mai and Sakura, like, all relationships should be like this, right? It's just wholesome. That's all I can say about it. No misunderstandings, no bullshit. See, when Mai got this kind of declaration from her agency that she couldn't date anymore, she was not just lost in her own self and trying to figure this out and think through this by herself. No, the first thing she does is she finds Sakura and says, "Hey, I got a problem that I need to talk with you about. Let's work through this problem together." Like, it's that simple, right? This is how relationships should be. And it's... if you look at this, and then you look at relationships in a lot of anime or manga right now, and it's like, why go through all that bullshit when it's as simple as that? And then also in the end, like when she went to, in first, it wasn't like a very dramatic scene or whatnot, right? It's just, oh, he collapsed, he's in the hospital. Hey, Mai's there because she's worried about her boyfriend. Like, that's just normal, right? If your in real life girlfriend or boyfriend collapsed and you were working maybe in another city or something, or in another state, or anyway, some place far away, of course you would go do your best and go there and then cheer him up or something, cheer your significant other up. That's normal, and that's what relationships should be. So, good stuff. Good stuff. And okay, I've been rambling on for far too long. Again, my question: if you guys have any thoughts about this situation, I'd love to know what you think. And or maybe I'm completely wrong and I completely did not get this episode's meaning at all. If that's the case, let me know. Let me know. I can take it. And it's fun for me to, to use theory and logic to try to work out these problems. But in this case, I guess there might be a correct answer. Even so, do I want to know? I think rather than want to know, I would rather want to know how everybody else thinks about this situation. So, anyways, again, I've been rambling for too long. That has been episode 8, and I'll see you guys in episode 9. So, bye-bye.